Hello, everybody. Brian here, QuantLabsNet.com. Some major updates here. I'm going to talk about as I'm setting up my trading account and which type of instruments for futures and options, which I'm going to focus on. Um, I am going to kind of go into detail about the minis versus the micros versus the full size. Another big thing I think is important to realize is when you are creating these new trading engine. So I'm gonna talk about the next step after you come up with a simulation or a dashboard that you think is great for setting up a strategy or a combination of strategies for a portfolio. I'm using Interactive Brokers TWS for this. So I'm going to walk you through everything so far. So the first thing we need to look at is the new set of code here. Um, and let me just tear this guy down. Okay, so I'll be uploading this to my QuantLeap members. We have here what I've done before, what I call a researching Streamlit application. And then I have, once you figure out what you want to trade based upon the executive summary, then you want to have a separate Streamlit application, or you can have it however you want, um, trading live with live money on, in this case, a Interactive Brokers account. So, as you know, I've gone through a various 45 plus, let's say, of instruments, uh, futures and options. There's really no limit as long as I'm only trading on the CME, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. So there's quite a good selection of instruments there. And again, I'll move into the micros and minis and the full contract sizes, depending upon your your um, your interest in, or really in your account size and your expertise level. So again, there is an executive summary that comes out of this set of reports. I run it against 45 plus individual Word documents with we'll call it institutional level hedging, uh, all kinds of stuff I've talked about before. I think there was a comment on that, what I mean by that. And that's what the HFT shops uh, use, or the hedge funds, or whatever, institutional level, to get better results on their trading. I've radically modified it now and brought it up more up to date. So here's a typical executive summary. Just depends upon the LLM and what I put in a prompt. I have now a suite of prompts that I'm using more generic, and they have all the ability to generate a similar set of consistent summary, executive summaries and front end Streamlit applications in Python. So there's more consistency with the same templated prompts. And I use a variety of AI models for that. But this is just the general executive summary. So I feed that into basically what I find the best for coding is right now, as of July 7th, sorry, July 23rd, 2025. The best one for coding is the reasoning, specific reasoning coding, Claude 3.7 with reasoning. Okay. Yeah, there is a model out there with reasoning. Okay. I could go on about what I've seen on how Google tries to hide that and other competitors as well. Anyways, but that's what I'm using to generate the Streamlit application. I've got a whole slew of videos on my YouTube channel showing you talking about it. So I'll let you figure that out. From there, what we do is we take this, um, the code that comes out of that. And as I said, there's two applications now. So the first one I'm going to show you is the actual research one. Okay. So originally I was going to use this as part of a trading engine, but I had to break them out for a variety of reasons. So um, there's some things that I've been learning as I go, and they take a while to kind of find the workaround for it. So in this case, we're running Streamlit, the research app that I'm using. So I'm going to show you what it comes up with. Let me just load this guy up. All right, so here is the app for, okay, here we are. So you have to go through the iteration. One thing I'll talk about is all along this time I have used in the code will generate random seeds for part as part of the forecasting. So what I've done was I've taken out that request. Do not add any randomization in the forecasting. Every time you launch, you're going to get a different forecast. So I've tweaked it in my prompt where I'll just say no random, only focus on these particular things. That could be um, regression. They could also use the ARIMA techniques. And as I move along, I'll be able to modify that using better conditions, building out more sophisticated prompts and update those prompts using more sophisticated quant techniques that I have put my um, into my Quant Elite program file share. You got to be a member, you got to pay to get into that. As you can see, it's very sophisticated now. We've got um, about 50 plus projects now, and I've been running it for the last few months. So I'm going to be adding a lot more quant techniques, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, um, getting back into that, we have now our new research only app. So here it will come back and say, you know what? Here's all the different instruments you could try. Here's if I was to say, and I've said this before, where you only want to focus on a larger initial capital of 50,000, 100,000. You want to do that because um, what happens is you'll get more strategies coming out of it that are better. You have now projected overall current value for the next 4 weeks because that's how I do it on a 4 week return projected using forward data dependent, not this crazy randomization that I've been using, which throws you off. So this is consistent running all the time now. So we can get an expected return and another measurement on your expected breakdown. So the other big factor is this is the expected return over the next month. Now I don't know why this big drop is here, but maybe they're projecting something on the 28th. Obviously, it's a projection; it could be way wrong, right? So here's the different strategies. So we can have an arbitrage strategy, we can have a directional strategy, or we can have a volatility strategy. So based upon this, you may have a schedule of strategies that you want open trading, and then being able to go, okay, let's say for directional, put more money in that to maximize that, and then sell it on the 27th. So again, today's the 23rd of July. So again, we have arbitrage, and then towards the tail end of this strategy on August 18th, it's expecting this to drop off. Again, I don't know how to project that, but it's being fed quite a bit of data on the real option chain. It's also using future data as well, going all the way back probably about a year. But I can feed a lot more option chain data, but um, depending upon the sophistication, I could give it data for the next 3 months if I wanted. Anyway, so there's the maximum uh, um, profit potential here. So we have a risk tolerance as well. Current expected returns, so we can toggle this and it'll readjust all of these. Yeah, it doesn't look like it does anything. Anyways, but we can optimize an expected return and improve things based upon all these different allocations, right? So here's where it's really interesting. So we have here all these different instruments in the futures market we could trade based upon that executive summary, be it soybean, the Russell 2000 natural gas, crude oil, 10-year note, or a corn. Okay, so in here, we have our optimized allocation, current allocation, and then our expected return. This is the key right here. Very important to know. So if I know, and I've said this before, if I'm going to get the highest return potentially on corn or oil as well. So we got oil and corn. Everything else is projecting to go negative over the next 4 weeks. Okay. So knowing that, why would you trade those? Okay. So in there, you might want to just add in corn, crude oil, and maybe something else. So now, as part of my prompt, and as I said, these will get more consistent. What I can also do is I can look at the projected pricing, the volatility, and the specific arbitrage to kind of say, okay, these are the um, projected equity right here. Okay, over the next couple a month. This is the back tested pricing. Okay, so it's all that volatility is measured in as well. Current price. And then we have here, this is the forecasted strategy. So we expect this to move up to August 3rd, boom, and then go flat from there. Uh, there's a total return, annualized return, the volatility, max drawdown, Sharpe ratio, and the Calmar. So again, this is all using historical data as well. And again, if I look at corn as another one, we have expected return. I don't think it does a return, but you can see here it's recommending the different types of strategies and long put at what levels. It's also projecting the price line on corn futures. Here's the forecasted P&L, okay? And again, all the metrics that I just showed you before. This one is suggesting to do an Iron Condor, okay? So those are the two ones we've looked at, corn and oil. The other one that was added in there was the Russell 2000, okay, E-mini. So again, it's projected to still kind of move up. So all the projections are going to be early. So if I can get option chain data that will go out beyond, let's say 30 days, 6 weeks, there might be an opportunity to do that with the next phase I'm going to show you. But you can see here our expected return on the Russell. Okay. So there's all the other individual ones like soybean, and it's suggesting maybe do this one. Same thing. But the ones that are performing the best is oil and corn. So now we can look at the individual back tested strategies. So here's the overall strategy based upon um, all the different strategies we have. So again, we have the arbitrage, directional, volatility. Okay. So the ones that are giving us the highest return. So we have here historical crude oil using arbitrage, corn at 1.44, forecasted 4 week return at 241, and crude oil at 105. So here is the general summary. Okay, so we can look at, we got corn here, it's the projected, the highest, and then obviously crude as well. And that's using the different strategies here. So I can go through the risk reward or risk return as well. So you have here CLZC as well. Okay, so here we have the detailed strategy forecast. So if I go back to corn, here's what's projected. If it's an Iron Condor, here's our short put, long put, short call, long call, net credit, max loss. And here's our payoff diagram. And again, I put that all in the my course that I'm going to have as a standalone soon. So all this is going to be part of that. Here's a trajectory over the profit, and it gives you the overall return of August 15. Okay, so now I know this is going to be the highest for corn, and if I do the same thing for oil, okay, so I might get a buck, ooh, and here it's just arbitrage as well. Okay, so there's that. So here it's recommending to do the portfolio allocation. So if I know, and I'll show you that in the next one. Um, so again, we have the new allocation versus the old, the change, and so on. These are extra things you don't really, it's extraneous. Okay, so you can see here how really useful this is. And again, this is only for research. So now I'm going to exit this. Okay, and then we've got one more app that we can look at. And again, this is all part of my QuantLabs for the code. So now I can use this one for Streamlit, run and trading Python. So now this is going to be the projected one for running code. Okay. So it's going to run. Let me just load this up. Okay. So that's going to get loaded up. So it's totally different. So there's now two separate apps that I'm using. This is kind of like a trading platform, but very, very specific for today on based upon those projections. So as part of my um okay, okay. So let me stop right there. So I'm going to get into this part right here. This can easily throw you off. You've got to remember this. Depending upon when you get the code, you got to be in the right operating system. My case, I just showed you that research in Python script in Linux, the WSL in Ubuntu. Okay, it doesn't have to be Ubuntu, but something that's easy to work with. So there's that. You can even run this locally on a Windows environment. But now you can see here I've got the TWS, right there. And I'm not going to show that in the foreground, but it's running in the background and it can connect into it. So now we've got a couple of things here. This is really important to know. So you can try to pull your hair out to install Streamlit into your environment on Windows because they're two separate uh, uh, environments. You have your WSL, you can run it anywhere there. But if you're going to run trading code, it has to connect right into your TWS locally. So that's now, in my case, on Windows. I have to have that trading Python script running in Windows. Here's the thing. Depending upon your setup, I'm Windows. I've got a tutorial right here I put up last week on AI trading bot on Windows live demo with Python, Streamlit, and Interactive Brokers. So if you go through that, that'll walk you through what I'm about to tell you. That video will show you in great detail. So here, we've got an Anaconda navigator that I had to install. I've also got it now, as part of that, an Anaconda command prompt. Okay, so let me just break this. Maybe, okay. So I'll break that, load up a new one. Now, Anaconda, I'm not a fan of, but as I said before in that video, it's a real pain to work with, but this is the most convenient way to do it. So you see here, I've got Anaconda PowerShell prompt. I also got Anaconda. Let's see here. Oh, I got to run it from here. So here's my navigator for Anaconda. Okay, so now we are going to continue to navigator. I guess this must have crashed or something. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Anaconda, to be honest. Well, let me pull up this prompt right here, PowerShell prompt. This should be fine. So I'll have to navigate to the directory on where it's stored or where that trading script is. So as it loads up, so here it's under my source directory. Okay, got a bunch here. I've got an IBKR TWS for strategies. So this is the one I'm going to run that's generated from that dashboard. Okay, so this is now trading. Let me just see. I think I can run it that way, but just in case, I'm going to do this. Okay. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're running Streamlit. So this is to run Streamlit again locally on your Windows. So I have my TWS loaded up, and here it's going to load this up. So now this is the trading engine here. Okay. So the big thing is part of my prompting. And again, let me talk about micros and minis now. All right. So depending upon your level of expertise in futures and options, you're a beginner, I would only recommend you to do micro. Okay. As you get more experienced, you go into E-mini and you're profitable and you move into E-mini as you consistently get more confident in your capabilities to do this process or just trade generally in futures and options. Remember, I got a whole course on it just to walk you through everything, and that's including institutional level. I just showed you in that Python diagram. Okay, again, there's that. So again, I've put up a poll here asking people which which bro when you have look when you factor in your account broker size, uh, which contract market are you wanting to participate in? And this is for both futures and options. You have micro, mini, full. Okay, so the beginners like me, and I'm testing this just whole process in the micro market. Okay, so all of the things I'm about to show you for the micro market. Okay, so this is now including let's see here. Yeah, so we have here the different micro markets. So we have MCL oil, MZC, which is the corn, and then if I wanted the M2K. So you can see here I've got all these different ETFs if I want it as well. That's part of the prompting and letting the AI generate this. And again, I'm using now a library of my own prompts to generate fairly consistent dashboards and simulators, now trading dashboards or platforms. So I'm getting more consistent with the same set of features that I want. Okay. So you can see here it can connect into TWS. Sometimes it's inconsistent. I mean, that's another world, but that's part of the video I showed you. Um, and then we also have, I asked for, well, give me a bid ask ladder, okay, on the options for uh, MCL, which is micro oil. We've got micro 2K, which is the micro Russell, and the micro corn, ZC. Okay. So in there, once it starts to trade and I connect here, and I got to toggle on and off any one of these uh, trading strategies and those particular markets. So I'll also set the capital size as well. In here, as it's trading, you can optimize that for portfolio allocation. And then next time it goes out and trade, it will either increase or decrease automatically all the capital, depending upon how the strategies play out with, let's say, a $2,000 account. Okay, so we've now got all of the bid ask last volume spread and just connect it and off it goes and runs. That's it. Okay, so one day I'll show you this when it's live trading, but this is just early days. So let me just see here. So these are the projected for these particular micro. So we have a micro crude oil arbitrage, micro Russell arbitrage, and a micro corn Iron Condor from the prior app that I showed you. Okay. So in there, right now it's inactive, obviously. So again, we get all uh, our major metrics. Okay, Z score and all that. How it's doing currently and projected for the next 9 months. These are supposedly current positions and recent trades. I can zero those out. The next thing is that you can see on a asset level each one how they're doing. So this one for the Russell 7% return for the next month. Crude oil 8% return, and the micro corn, Iron Condor at 10%. So those are the projections. Okay. Obviously, they're just that projections. So I can turn them on, allocate the proper capital, um, and then go from there. So behind the scene in the source code, each strategy is automatically built in. The other thing is I've added in working source code uh, from my file share for my quant members. So those are working, should be working TWS, Interactive Brokers TWS code for both data and executing orders. So if you ever become a member of my website, QuantLabsNet.com, as I always say, you can always join my newsletter to find out more to see how the progress is going right at the front, or just go into the Learn tab here, QuantLabsNet.com. In here, I have a file share. I think I showed this before. So my file share here, you can clearly see for my QuantLeap programming, I added a new subfolder for IBKR TWS code. So in there, the code I refer to is what's available in there for these. So this would be like stock order, stock downloader, right from the TWS when you open it up. Anyway, so that's pretty well it. As I said, if you want to learn more, just go into the Learn tab at quantlabsnet.com, get yourself a free C++ infrastructure for what the HFT shops are doing, and learn more. And that's pretty well it. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.